It was a quiet night on Earth. The streets were calm, the sky was clear, and everything felt normal. No one could imagine that this night would be written in history. Far above the sleeping cities, a strange light moved slowly across the stars. It was not a plane. It was not a satellite. It was something else. Something that should not be there. In a small apartment, a young man named Adam sat on his bed, scrolling through his phone. Suddenly, his screen froze. Every app closed. A black screen appeared with one blinking line of text. Signal received. Adam frowned. "What is this?" he whispered to himself. A few seconds later, the TV in the living room turned on by itself. The same message flashed again. Signal received. Around the world, millions of people saw the same thing. Phones, TVs, computers, even digital billboards on highways, all showed the same message. People thought it was a joke. Some laughed, some ignored it. But when every device showed the same black screen, fear slowly grew. At exactly 10:45 p.m., the message changed. 3 new words appeared on every screen. "We are here." Newsrooms around the world exploded with noise. Reporters shouted, producers ran, phones rang non-stop. Breaking news alerts appeared on every channel. A strange red light had been seen above multiple countries. It moved fast, too fast for any plane. Scientists checked their telescopes. Military radars went offline for 5 seconds, then came back on. Whatever was in the sky, it was powerful. People came out of their houses and stood on rooftops. Families held each other's hands. Some pointed their phones at the sky to record. Above the black clouds, a soft red glow pulsed like a heartbeat. It was silent. Too silent. In the control room of the Global Emergency Network, Commander Helen stared at the live radar. A large object was approaching Earth's upper atmosphere. It wasn't falling. It was slowing down. "That's not a meteor," she said softly. Her team looked at her. No one spoke. On TV, a famous news anchor tried to keep calm. "Ladies and gentlemen, something is entering our sky," he said. His voice shook slightly. Behind him, the studio screens showed live footage of the red light. The world is watching this together. In a small village, children pointed at the sky. In big cities, people stopped their cars in the middle of the road. Soldiers gathered at air bases. Jets were placed on standby. The whole world held its breath. Then the light moved, it didn't fall. It glided, like it was searching. Over oceans, mountains, deserts, and cities, it scanned the earth slowly. Some thought it was beautiful. Others felt a deep, cold fear in their chest. The red light was not just a light, it was a message. At 11:02 p.m., every TV and radio station lost control of their signal. A single global broadcast started on its own. A dark screen appeared, showing a strange symbol, like a circle made of moving lines. The symbol spun slowly. Then a deep mechanical voice echoed in every language at once. "We are here." "Do not hide," children cried. Adults stared in silence. No one knew what to do. In the White House, in military bases, and in secret underground rooms, leaders argued. Some wanted to respond. Some wanted to attack. But no one knew who they were talking to. There was no spaceship they could see clearly. Only the light. The red glow grew brighter, spreading like a sunrise across the night sky. Birds flew away in panic. Dogs barked in the streets. Electricity in some cities flickered. The ground shook lightly, like something massive had entered the atmosphere. Commander Helen shouted into her radio, "All forces on high alert. This is not a drill." Meanwhile, Adam opened his window and stared at the sky. He was just one small human in a big world, but tonight the universe had spoken to him directly. He whispered, "They're real." A sudden flash hit the clouds. The red light disappeared for a second. Then a new message filled every screen. "The silence is over." Before anyone could react, the global broadcast cut off. The world went black. TV signals died. Phone networks collapsed. For 5 seconds, Earth was completely silent. No internet, no sound, just darkness. Then a loud hum filled the air. It was low at first, like a machine starting. Then it grew louder and louder, until windows began to shake. People covered their ears. Streetlights flickered. A storm formed without rain. The sky turned blood red. No one knew what was coming next, but everyone felt it. The night the sky spoke was the night humanity's story changed forever. The night after the message, the world did not sleep. News anchors spoke with shaking voices. Soldiers moved through empty streets. People waited for the morning like it was their last. The sky was still red, but now a strange mist hung over cities. Radios only played one sound, a deep hum. At 6 a.m. the hum stopped. The world went silent again. Birds didn't sing, no cars moved. Everyone waited. In the Global Command Center, Commander Helen stood in front of a massive screen. A blinking red dot appeared in the sky's orbit. "That's it," she whispered. "They're here." The room went cold. The object was slowing down, moving like a hunter ready to strike. It wasn't falling. It was landing. On rooftops, people pointed at the sky. The clouds began to spin like a storm. A hole opened in the middle of the red sky, a black circle growing larger and larger. Light shot out from it, but this was not sunlight. It was cold and sharp, like ice cutting the air. Then, the ship appeared. At first, it looked like a shadow. Slowly, its shape came into view, a dark, silent machine bigger than any building on Earth. It had no windows, no wings, no engines. It floated in the air like a ghost. A low metallic sound spread through the air, shaking glass, setting off car alarms and freezing every heart. Crowds filled the streets. Children cried. Some people fell to their knees. Others took out their phones to record. All cameras caught the same thing, a massive alien ship hovering silently above the city. For the first time, the world saw that humanity was not alone. The global broadcast turned on by itself again. Every screen showed a live image of the ship. A new message flashed in white letters. The arrival has begun. In different countries, governments tried to make contact. Radio signals were sent into the sky in every language. "This is Earth, we welcome you. Please respond," one message said. But there was no answer. No movement. Only silence. Then at 6:45 a.m. the ship opened. A long crack appeared across its black surface. A bright white light poured out. It was like a door, but not made for humans. From inside, thousands of small objects floated down. At first, people thought they were lights, but as they came closer, their true shape was revealed. They were drones. Black, fast and sharp, like living knives. Their movements were perfect, smooth and cold. They formed lines in the sky like soldiers marching in silence. Within seconds, they spread across the city like a storm of metal. Contact confirmed. "They're not here to talk," Commander Helen said, her voice steady but her hands shaking. Alarms screamed across military bases. Fighter jets took off. Tanks rolled through empty highways. Humanity was ready to fight. The first drone touched the ground near a highway. It stood still for 2 seconds. Then, without warning, it exploded into a flash of light. The blast threw cars into the air. People screamed. And then it began, the attack. All around the world, drones struck at the same time. Power stations exploded. Communication towers burned. Soldiers fired back, but their bullets bounced off the drones like raindrops. The drones moved too fast. They cut through tanks like paper. Fighter jets couldn't lock onto them. Every news camera captured the chaos live. Streets filled with smoke. Sirens echoed. A single reporter whispered into his microphone, "They are not visitors. They are conquerors." At 7:12 a.m. the ship moved lower. Its shadow covered entire cities. The world watched in horror as the drones marked buildings with glowing red symbols. These marks spread like fire. Any place with the mark was destroyed minutes later. People ran to underground shelters. Some prayed. Some shouted at the sky. Others just stared, frozen in fear. In the control room, Helen gave the order. "Global defense is active. This is humanity's stand." Jets fired missiles at the ship. They hit the surface, but nothing happened. Not even a scratch. The ship didn't react. It didn't need to. The drones were enough. By 8 a.m., major cities across continents were burning. The global broadcast showed the same live feed. Humans running, buildings falling, red marks glowing. No one could turn off the broadcast. No one could stop it. In his small apartment, Adam stood at his window again. The drone swarm flew over his street. They moved like one creature. He whispered, "This isn't war. This is a takeover." Suddenly, the screen in his room lit up again. A single message flashed. "Your time is short." The hum returned. The ship began to pulse with light as if breathing. The world was now under its shadow. The arrival was complete. The invasion had begun. Morning turned into chaos. The red sky burned like fire. Sirens screamed across every city. What began as a strange light in the sky had now become full war. Humanity's defenses were falling faster than anyone could believe. In the Global Command Center, Commander Helen stared at a giant world map covered in blinking red lights. "We've lost Tokyo, we've lost Paris. London is under attack," a soldier shouted. More and more cities turned red every minute. The alien drones moved like a wave, fast and unstoppable. Tanks tried to block their path but were torn apart in seconds. Fighter jets flew toward the ship, but the drones shot them down with cold, perfect aim. It wasn't a fair fight. It wasn't a war. It was a hunt. On the streets, buildings shook as explosions filled the air. Power lines fell. The internet was gone in most places. Only one last global broadcast channel was still running, using an emergency satellite. Everyone around the world was watching the same thing: humanity falling. Adam sat near his broken window, holding his phone even though it no longer worked. Outside, smoke covered the streets. A single drone hovered at the end of the road. It didn't move like a machine. It moved like it knew what it was doing. Adam whispered, "They're everywhere." In New York, a line of soldiers opened fire on the drones. Bullets rained down, but the drones didn't fall. Instead, they released a bright pulse, a silent wave of energy. The entire street went dark. The soldiers' weapons stopped working. In seconds, the drones advanced. One soldier screamed before the broadcast cut to another city. In Moscow, fire covered the skyline. In Cairo, drones hovered above the pyramids. In Sydney, red symbols glowed on buildings before they exploded. The world was burning and everyone could see it live. Commander Helen's voice cracked. "We have no way to stop them. They're too strong." Her second-in-command whispered, "Then this is the first fall." The global emergency message flashed across every screen. "Stay indoors, seek shelter, do not engage." But it didn't matter. Drones didn't care if people hid. They scanned every house, every signal, every heartbeat. Anyone they found vanished in the white flash. The last working news station showed a young reporter broadcasting from a broken rooftop. His camera shook as the city behind him burned. "We thought we were strong," he said, breathing hard. "But they're everywhere. Our defenses mean nothing. If anyone is hearing this may be the end of our world." A loud explosion shook the building behind him. He turned, terrified. The camera fell. The broadcast didn't cut off. It showed the last image of a drone flying toward him, its red light blinking like a heartbeat. In the underground bunker, scientists and soldiers argued. "We can't fight this way," one said. "We need a plan, something they don't expect." Helen's eyes were dark but steady. "Then we must disappear before we're erased." Meanwhile, Adam ran down the stairs of his building. He could hear the humming outside. It was like the air itself was alive. A woman next door whispered prayers. A child cried. A man shouted at the sky, but nothing changed. The drones didn't stop. Across the planet, communication broke down completely. Nations stopped responding. Armies disappeared. The alien ship still hovered silently, like a god watching its prey. At 10 a.m., the emergency broadcast changed. The symbol of the aliens, the spinning circle, filled every screen. A mechanical voice echoed through speakers around the world. "Resistance is useless." No one had ever heard a voice like this. It was cold, slow, and clear. The world understood. This was not a visit. This was control. People began to panic. Highways were blocked with cars. Thousands ran to shelters that no longer had power. Some tried to escape by sea or air, but the drones found them too. There was no place to hide. Commander Helen looked at the map. Almost every city was red now. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were full of pain. "We just lost Earth's first defense. We lost the world above. All that's left. Here's what's hidden below." Adam reached the basement with a group of neighbors. A small radio worked for a moment, and they heard a final news update. "All major cities have fallen. Power grid is gone. This is humanity's last stand." Above them, the humming grew louder. The building shook as a drone scanned the area. Adam closed his eyes, holding his breath. For a second, everything went silent again. The first fall was not just about losing cities. It was the moment humanity realized they were not the top of the food chain anymore. The invasion was not coming. The invasion was already here. The world above was burning. Drones flew through the red sky like silent hunters. The alien ship hovered over the Earth like a dark sun. Cities had fallen, armies had failed, and the streets were filled with smoke and silence. But deep underground, humanity was not done yet. Beneath an old government building, Commander Helen walked through a steel hallway. The walls shook from distant explosions, but down here there was light. This was one of the last secret bunkers left, hidden from the alien signals. Soldiers, scientists, and a few survivors gathered here. Helen stopped in front of a large metal door. A soldier scanned her hand, and the door opened with a heavy hiss. Inside was a command room filled with blinking screens, old radios, and maps marked with red zones. Almost the entire map of the world was red. Dr. Morgan, a scientist with tired eyes, stood up from his chair. "We can't win a war in the sky," he said quietly. "But maybe. We can win a war inside their minds." Helen raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Morgan pointed to a small black box on the table. "We captured one of their drones. Our team cracked part of its code. We found a signal inside. It's a key, a backdoor. If we can send this signal into the mothership, we might be able to shut it down." The room went silent. A soldier whispered, "You mean hack their ship?" "Yes," Morgan replied. "We don't have weapons strong enough to break it from outside. So we break it from inside." Helen walked closer to the table. The black drone lay open like a machine heart. Its circuits glowed faintly red. "How much time do we have?" she asked. "Not much," Morgan answered. "Every hour they wipe out another city. If we wait too long, there will be nothing left to save." The team quickly formed a plan. A small group would travel to the old radio tower near the city's edge, one of the few towers still working underground. From there they could amplify the hacked signal and send it directly into the alien ship's frequency. The mission was dangerous. Drones swarmed every open space. The tower was outside the bunker, in the ruins of the city. But it was their only chance. Helen stood in front of her team, 5 people, soldiers, scientists, survivors. "This is not about saving everyone," she said. "This is about giving Earth a chance. We don't run anymore. We fight." Adam, who had found shelter in the bunker earlier, was among them. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero. But he volunteered. "I've lost everything," he said quietly. "If this is our last chance." "I want to help." The team prepared in silence. They carried old weapons, EMP grenades, and the black box with the alien signal. Above them, the alien hum grew louder, like the ship could feel the humans moving. At night, they opened a hidden tunnel and stepped into the ruins. The city was unrecognizable. Buildings were half burned. Cars were empty. Red symbols glowed on walls like scars. Drones floated in the distance, their red lights blinking slowly. The team moved like shadows through the streets. Halfway to the tower, they stopped. A group of drones hovered near a broken bridge. Their lights scanned the area. The team crouched behind a wrecked bus. One wrong sound, and they'd be dead. Helen gave a hand signal. One soldier threw an EMP grenade. It exploded with a soft blue flash. No fire, just silence. The drones fell to the ground like broken birds. The team kept moving. Finally, the tower came into view. It was tall, cracked, and half destroyed, but still standing. It was their last hope. Inside the control room, Morgan placed the black box on the panel. Wires sparked as he connected it to the old radio systems. "Signal ready," he whispered. Sweat rolled down his forehead. Helen stood guard by the door. Outside, more drones were moving closer. They had heard something. Morgan looked at Adam. "Press the button when I say." This is it. The alien hum above grew louder. The mothership glowed red, pulsing like a beating heart. It felt like the sky itself was watching them. 3, 2, 1. "Now!" Morgan shouted. Adam slammed the button. The tower came alive with a sharp, high sound. The hacked signal shot into the sky like lightning. For a brief moment, the red lights in the drones flickered. "It's working," Morgan breathed, but outside the drones screamed back with a sound no human had ever heard before. The old radio tower screamed with a sharp electric sound. Sparks flew across the control room. The hacked signal rose into the sky like a beam of light. Far above, the massive alien ship pulsed red, once, then twice, as if it felt the human attack. Morgan's hands shook as he typed on the control panel. "Signal is going through. It's working." Helen stood near the door, her weapon ready. "Keep it stable. Don't stop." Outside, the sky began to change. The red glow around the ship flickered. Drones in the city paused for a few seconds, confused. It was the first time since the invasion began that the aliens had stopped moving. A spark of hope grew in the bunker. Adam stared at the glowing screens. "We're actually doing it," he whispered. But hope never comes without danger. The alien drones turned their red lights toward the tower. One by one they began to move, not in chaos but in perfect, terrifying formation. A mechanical scream echoed through the city, vibrating the broken buildings. They had found the source of the signal. Morgan shouted, "They're coming straight for us." Helen didn't blink. "Then we hold them off." The first drone reached the street below the tower. Its red light scanned the building like a predator sniffing blood. Helen opened fire. Bullets hit the drone, useless at first, but then Adam threw an EMP grenade. A blue flash spread, and the drone crashed to the ground with a metallic thud. "They're not invincible," Adam shouted, but for every one they destroyed, 10 more appeared. The team fought hard. Blue flashes and red lights filled the dark street like a storm of fire and lightning. The sound of gunfire mixed with the alien hum above. Inside the control room, Morgan's screen flashed with warning symbols. "The signal is too strong. The tower can't handle it much longer." "Then boost it," Helen said. "This is our only chance." Morgan clenched his teeth. "If I boost it too much, the tower will explode." Helen's voice was calm. "Then it explodes." Outside, the alien mothership began to shift. Its dark surface cracked open like a shell, revealing massive red energy rings spinning around its core. For the first time, it looked alive and angry. The global emergency channel flickered back online. Around the world, survivors saw the same image, the mothership pulsing with strange light. It was being hacked, and the aliens didn't like it. In the underground bunker, people stared at the screens with wide eyes. Someone whispered, "This is it. This is our last stand." More drones surrounded the tower. 2 soldiers fell. Helen kept firing. Smoke and dust filled the air. Adam coughed, blood on his lip, but he didn't stop throwing EMP grenades. "We can't stop now," he said, his voice breaking. Morgan shouted over the noise, "Almost there. 10 more seconds." But then the roof exploded. A group of drones crashed into the tower from above. One of them shot a red beam into the control panel. The lights flickered. The signal weakened. Adam ran toward the controls. "What do I do?" Morgan's eyes met his. "You press the button again. Even if it kills us." Adam slammed his hand on the main switch. Electricity burned through his arm, but the signal roared back to life, louder, brighter, stronger than before. The entire tower glowed blue like a beacon. The red sky cracked with lightning. The alien mothership stopped moving. Everything went silent. Drones across the city froze in midair. The spinning red rings on the ship slowed down. For a single breath, humanity had control. The entire world watched as the invasion machine hesitated for the first time. Morgan whispered, "We did it." But hope lasted only seconds. The ship released a low, deep sound that shook the ground like an earthquake. All frozen drones suddenly screamed back online. A red wave of energy shot down from the mothership, hitting the tower with brutal force. Helen screamed, "Get down!" The blast ripped through the building. Glass shattered. Fire rained down. The tower shook as the red wave burned everything in its path. Adam hit the floor, ears ringing. Morgan tried to keep the signal alive, but the panel exploded in front of him. The world's last hope was burning. Outside, the mothership's red light grew brighter, stronger, and more alive. A voice echoed across every speaker, every broken radio, and every screen. "You cannot stop what has already begun." Adam crawled toward the panel, smoke filling the room. Helen pulled him back as the ceiling began to collapse. The tower was dying. The signal was fading. But something unexpected happened. For a split second before everything went dark, a small piece of the signal was sent, far beyond the mothership, into deep space. Helen didn't see it. Morgan didn't see it. But the universe did. Smoke filled the night sky. The old radio tower was nothing but fire and broken metal. The alien ship floated above the burning city like a dark god, its red core spinning faster than ever. The hacked signal was gone. Humanity's last plan had failed. Commander Helen crawled out from the rubble, her uniform torn and covered in ash. She coughed, trying to breathe through the smoke. Beside her, Adam pulled Morgan from the ground. The scientist was barely conscious, his hands burned from the explosion. "Is it over?" Adam whispered, his voice shaking. Helen looked up at the sky. The mothership was glowing brighter than ever. Drones circled like vultures above the ruins. "No," she said quietly. "It's just beginning." A deep hum filled the air again, louder than before. All across the planet, drones rose into formation. The red symbols on buildings expanded like veins, spreading into the streets, into rivers, into the air. The alien ship had not been destroyed. It had been awakened. In the underground bunker, people stared at the screens. The global emergency channel flickered to life one final time. A camera somewhere high above the Earth showed a chilling view, the entire planet covered with a red glow. A voice spoke through every device, calm and cold. "Your world is ours." Cities were already falling. Now countries began to vanish. Power plants melted down. Oceans turned dark. The world that once belonged to humans was now a battlefield they could not win. In a broken street near the tower, Adam sat on the ground. He looked at the sky and saw the red waves spreading across the horizon. "We tried," he whispered. "We really tried." Helen knelt beside him, her eyes fixed on the mothership. "Yes," she said softly. "And they know now that we won't go quietly." Suddenly the ground trembled. A loud metallic sound echoed through the sky. The alien ship released a blinding red light, a final strike. All power grids around the world died. TV stations, radios, satellites, everything went black. Humanity's voice was being erased, but then something unexpected happened. A faint signal blinked on an old emergency transmitter inside the bunker. It wasn't alien. It wasn't coming from Earth either. It was the small piece of the hack, the part of the signal that escaped before the tower fell. It had bounced off satellites and shot into space. Now, it was coming back. Helen's radio crackled. A weak robotic voice spoke through the static. "Signal. Received. Humanity. Not alone." Morgan coughed, his voice weak but full of hope. "Someone heard us." Adam's eyes widened. "Who?" Before they could speak again, the alien drones above them screamed. A red flash shot down and destroyed the top of the bunker entrance. The enemy was already closing in. Time was running out. Helen stood up. "This may be the end of Earth," she said, "but not the end of our story." She pressed a button on her wrist communicator. A hidden camera inside the bunker activated. All over the remaining global network, the last human broadcast began. The screen showed Helen, tired, covered in ash, but standing tall. "This is Commander Helen," she said into the camera. Her voice was strong, steady. "If anyone is out there, this message is for you. Earth has fallen. Humanity is broken, but not gone. We will not disappear quietly. If you hear this, fight for us. Remember us." Outside, drones swarmed the city. The alien ship descended lower, its red light flooding everything. Adam looked at her and whispered, "Do you think anyone will answer?" Helen didn't look away from the camera. "Someone already has." The broadcast spread through the last surviving satellites, echoing into the stars. It was weak. It was broken. But it was real. The alien ship unleashed its final strike. A beam of red energy cut through the sky like a blade. Cities vanished in seconds. The Earth went silent. The screen flickered. One by one, signals across the planet went dark. But the last image that remained was not the ship. It was Helen's face staring straight into the camera, refusing to bow. And then, black far away in deep space, beyond stars and broken signals, a small station picked up the message. A single light turned green. Someone or something was listening. The broadcast was over, but the war was not.